Hey, thanks for volunteering for me today. So this is station number 2. This is Soccer Monster. This one is not for ribbons. This is just for fun, healthy competition. So what you'll do when the kids come over is you'll tell every kid to grab a soccer ball and tell them to start dribbling within the provided boundary. Okay, so basically you'll just have them kind of like if this circle was the boundary line, you just kind of have them like going around dribbling with the soccer ball. So encourage them as they're dribbling to try to keep the ball close. Try not to let it get too far away from them. You probably have a lot of soccer players in the house, in my experience. So a lot of them will probably be pretty good at this, but some of the kids just encourage them like no hands, especially the little guys. Tell them they can use different parts of their feet. We've practiced this for the most part, but yeah, just tell them to keep their ball in the boundary line. After a couple minutes of warm up, just making sure everybody's got a soccer ball, then tell them, all right, guys, let's practice a little bit of juggling now. So the juggling is they're going to use the top of their leg, they're going to use the top of their foot, the side of their foot, to just try to keep the ball in the air. They can kind of throw it and catch it. Okay, they can just do this. They can bounce it off the ground and then try to do it. Some kids obviously will have different skill levels than others. Doesn't really matter. Just we're going to practice for just a little bit. So again, that should only be about 2 minutes. It's going to go pretty quick. So then once we've practiced juggling and dribbling, say, okay, guys, soccer monster time. Go ahead and line up on the perimeter of the boundary. So tell them to go to the boundary. And I usually tell them they can sit on their egg, just to kind of pause them for a second, kind of like this, or they can put their soccer ball in the garage like this and then wait for instruction. So once they're all lined up on the perimeter, tell them the way Soccer Monster works is that you're trying to keep your ball inside the boundary at all times using that dribbling technique. And then you're also trying to kick everybody else's soccer ball out of the boundary line. Okay, so it's a kind of a two-level game. Keep your ball in, kick everybody else's ball out. So again, encourage only healthy competitive play. Let's not try to get too aggressive, but again, just different strategies like how you might want to work it. The obvious next question is what happens if your ball goes out of the boundary line? So if their ball goes out of the boundary line at any time for any reason, whether it gets kicked out, it goes out accidentally or whatever, it should be just a quick, oh, darn it kind of moment. They grab their soccer ball and their ticket back into the game is while their ball's outside. All they have to do is 5 juggles in any order or whatever to get back in. So if they're really good, the soccer players, they can probably do it pretty easy, do multiple in a row. They just have to do 5 total. If it's like a little guy or somebody that's not that good, just encourage them to just get it to touch their foot and then catch it, or touch their leg and then catch it. And just 5 total. As soon as they're done with 5, they kind of roll the soccer ball back in and then rejoin the game. Okay. Some things that might occur is kids getting really frustrated if their ball gets kicked out. So just remind them, like, hey, that's part of the game. Like, if you just want to watch and juggle, that's fine. But frustration shouldn't come into the game because it's just healthy competition. As you're coming back in the game from your successful 5 juggles, kind of check the space a little bit so you don't get kicked out right away again. So just kind of be mindful of how you come back in. This game, for the most part, is super fun. Sometimes kids' ball, they get kicked out really far. So if that does start happening consistently, just remind kids, hey, if you are trying to kick somebody's ball out, try not to kick it so far that they have to go chasing it across the entire field, if you can help it. So, but obviously accidents happen. So that's Soccer Monster. Pretty simple game. If some of the older grades request to do it elimination style and everybody agrees, or you have extra time, you can do it elimination style. And all that is like if your ball goes out once, you're out of the game and you can't get back in. And so it's a test to see who the last remaining person in the circle would be. Anybody that's out for the entire game, they can either just watch the game or they can do juggling while they're watching. Okay, so that's another option if it's requested, but that one usually works only with some of the older grades. Younger kids have a hard time with that one. So, but yeah, I'll be around for questions. Thanks.